If you were to ask me to distill the essence of Radio the Universe into a couple words, they would be uncontrolled descent. A descent that feels endless, and with every passing fall feeling more alien than the last. To this end, I would like to compliment its sense of space, but that phrase is slightly too ambiguous for my liking. It's more than that. Radio the Universe is sharp and striking. Striking the same way a server room past midnight might be, with all its flickering LEDs and metallic surfaces. These semi-transient spaces comprise the nightmarish world you will traverse. Memories that ought to have faded still remain, while eternal monuments crumble into dust. Evidently, this demo stirs a lot of feelings in me, and I'm not the only one. I saw this Kickstarter page in high school. I'm now a graduated engineer, and similar to your favorite movies as a child, the magic of this project has never been lost to me throughout these years. It all started with this image. It was enough for me to understand that the vision Six was creating was special and aligned with my particular taste in media. Cue me every couple of months checking on its status. News, updates, screenshots. I was excited to get my hands on whatever scrap of info I could regarding this project. Eventually, I was checking a couple times a year until the start of that year's Steam's Next Fest, and the beginning of my descent into the demo of Radio the Universe. That's right, bitch, 3 minutes in and I got you. This is just a demo, so welcome back to another episode of Demo Dive. Now, I won't lie to you, there's a reason I have a full playthrough of this demo on my channel. At the time of its release, I did intend to do a video on it. The reasons I decided not to are multifaceted, but it originated from my lack of ability to convey how this game makes you feel, and how immersive it is through its environmental design. The vibes here are in the stratosphere. With that being said, I'm ready to give it another shot. On the surface, Radio the Universe seems to share a sort of dystopian kinship with older Zelda titles. Think of Link to the Past or that one with the mountain egg. However, its gameplay actually leans more towards games like Hyper Light Drifter, mainly because you have a gun, and I can assure you that Link will never be rocking a .44 caliber Colt pistol. Using just a couple tools in your arsenal, you slay enemies, navigate a world composed of locked doors, big baddies, and mysteries. Pretty standard in terms of top-down Metroidvanias, however, just like in other great pieces of media, its pronounced greatness resides in the details. The gameplay of Radio the Universe feels very deterministic, and I'm not just necessarily referring to the actual sequence of events, but the general sentiment of always knowing exactly how your character will move and react to your inputs. Jumping is preceded by a stylish indicator, ensuring you know exactly where you're going to fly before landing there. These little visual flares are exactly where they need to exist, from your jump arc, the enemy's large shooting angle, remaining hit points, ammo, and the imminent death warnings from overlooking tall ledges. Not only are these genuinely cool, they exist in a way that conveys that this is what your little robot dude is seeing for themselves. But most importantly, they're not overly helpful, just data points to log as you make your way through the world. And in case you were worried about this game being too easy, it's not. On that note, might as well talk about the combat. Swords, skills, and guns. Throughout the demo, you will end up arming yourself rather thoroughly thanks in part to the skill tree, and in part through exploration. Swordplay is fun and intuitive, consisting of light and heavy attacks for each weapon. In addition, you have some special skills that do very specific amounts of damage. This is relevant beyond playing efficiently because during any combat encounter, you are trying to avoid overkill. Not this guy, this. These negative numbers are so mentally disheartening, it really does hurt, because this means you failed. If you kill an enemy with an attack that brings its life total to exactly 0, you will be rewarded with experience points to use in the skill tree. The same skill tree that gives you more moves, with different damage numbers, giving you more options to kill effectively. This means that low damage skills remain relevant even as you venture farther into the game. So when you're surrounded by a group of enemies, all with specific attacks, all with different health totals, you end up balancing a lot of skills. Your usual gamer skills will be tested in addition to thinking about what attacks to use on what enemy, or how to hit multiple foes at once, all in an effort to avoid seeing those negative numbers. It's math, but it's fun, a full evolution of coolmathgames.com. Listen, it seems like a lot to juggle, but the game eases you into it exceedingly well. So in no time at all, you're decimating rooms and going toe-to-toe with some really enjoyable bosses. So what happens when you do inevitably fuck up? death, duh, but not like the Dark Souls death. Since there's no specific save points, there's no huge walk back, no big contemplation about attack patterns, no suicidal thought. It's back into the action. Same room, immediately, no loading required. This probably contributed to my lack of thinking or planning, but damn, it was nice to just go next. But that is just one part of what we do here. Exploration is the other large aspect at play and, just like combat, enjoys its own level of difficulty. The only moment I had is when I felt like I was breaking the game to reach spots that seemed out of bounds but still contained items. And I was only worried because I didn't want to miss different connecting rooms. Luckily, this was not the case, but it still makes me wonder if there was a better way of implementing this. Then again, it only took up like 30 seconds of my entire playthrough. I used a bit of my brain, it wasn't that bad, and I had little issue for the remainder of my time. 6 has done an outstanding job of ensuring the player never really has a chance to get lost. Through a combination of notable room transitions, choice of pixel palettes, and genuinely unique rooms, I rarely felt turned around or frustrated. All in all, everything that you do feels great, which is quite the accomplishment considering this game is only being developed by one person. Nothing we really hear when playing would constitute as a music track in my opinion, but that's not to say there isn't any sound. Your heavy footfalls, the rain, even just clambering around, it really does sound crisp, and it's easily a game I'd recommend wearing a set of headphones for. All of this auditory feedback definitely helps identify your character as an active participant in this strange, hostile world. I only mention the lack of conventional music tracks because I usually try to include it in the video, so I guess you'll have to settle with whatever future me decides to do. Though it would be a shame not to shout out how absolutely hard the trailer music goes. I don't exactly know if I would want it in the final game. The atmosphere here does a really good job to instill this weird sense of horror, maybe some nostalgia onto you, but I can't do this video and not mention the trailer music. What 6 has managed to craft here is nothing short of extraordinary. It's no great leap to say that any one frame of this game could find its way to the top of something like r/pixel art. There's a lot to thank for this incredibly high visual bar. Striking HUD elements, gorgeous backgrounds, fluid animations, and additional effects. This all really helps cement itself as its own game, its own unique cassette industrialized futuristic nightmare game. The world here is made to feel ancient in one moment and timeless in the next. Books occupy the same world as computer terminals next to robotic magical monsters rooms away from a payphone. This concept also extends to the bosses, each having their own flavor of horrifying and alien, all contributing to a great sense of scale as they seemingly dwarf you in size. Not to mention that their attacks look incredible, and despite all the particle effects, are still super legible and clean. My only regret was not playing this on a real, genuine CRT monitor. As I end this video, I once again worry I haven't been able to convey just how special this demo is. Even if I absorb every word in the English lexicon, I don't think I ever will. So this small video will have to represent my golden record. At least until the full game's release. Once again, this demo is free, it's on Steam, it's Radio the Universe. Thank you for watching this special 4x3 episode of Demo Dive.